Good afternoon and welcome to yet another TUG Connects 365 webinar today. I'm Gloria Nelson, your host with TUG, and as you settle in and get ready for the start of today's webinar, let me give a brief introduction for TUG, the usergroup.org, for both our current members and those of you who represent organizations that have not yet joined our online community of info distribution software users. Now, we've all heard the phrase, knowledge is power, and I can say with confidence that after today's presentation, you'll be waking up tomorrow with a little more of both. Today is but one of our many TUG webinar presentations. We offer in our membership webinars, online forums, and member events to facilitate the timely exchange of ideas and information to help you work smarter and with more confidence. Now that's a powerful combination. If you're currently a member, it also pays to get more involved. And if you're not, please visit our website to discover why 2,300 heads are better than one to help you be the best at what you do. Now, before we officially get started this afternoon, I'd like to say that Central Data has given us permissions to capture intellectual property that they'll be sharing. So feel free if you need to capture screenshots, copy and paste any of the chat. The other thing that I would like to just share is please take a moment and go into your Zoom toolbar because we would like you to populate questions, open your Q&A bubble. If you open your Q&A bubble and put in and type text your question there, everyone who is online viewing can also see what's on your mind so that if they share that pressing question and more than one populates, simply by liking it, you'll bubble that question right up to the top and give it priority in response when we get to our Q&A breaks. Also, chat. We'll be monitoring chat, and please be aware, open your chat bubble. Daryl is going to be engaging you with regard to some commentary in there, so please make sure that it's open and you're ready to respond. But do note that the blue box automatically defaults to the panelist mode. So in order for everyone to see your response and not just us that are on the panelist team, please make sure that you go and select from the drop-down menu that you want it to go to the panelists as well as everyone who's online. So without any further ado, it is our pleasure to introduce Daryl Ziegelman, Central Data's Chief Technical Officer, who will kick things off this afternoon. I'm turning things over to you, so go ahead and take it away, Daryl. Oh, you have to unmute. There you go.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Gloria, for your time. And let's get started right away with using that chat or question Q&A bubble and ask you, the ultimate question: Star Wars or Star Trek? If you guys have the opportunity to pick one, what would be in this time, and what are you watching? Everybody's trying to figure out what they're watching in this COVID times. Is it Star Wars or Star Trek? So great. We'll wait and see what people have to say. Seeing a number of Star Wars. I see Star Trek. That's great. So I can tell you I watched all the Star Treks, but have always been a Star Wars fan. And now that I'm in the Disney Plus catching up in Star Wars, all the animated in between. So today we're going to focus and talk about Birst. Birst is the new BI platform from Infor, and really want to get in and talk about how Birst can help you and how we approach Birst as an organization. So first and foremost, let's just talk about your presenters today. So Central Data, that's our organization. We are a gold channel partner and an alliance partner. Our local offices are in Farmington Hills, Michigan, and in St. Louis, Missouri. So we're also in all 4 time zones, including internationally, as Kevin is coming in from Montreal. So we come with a lot of experience in a lot of different places. Myself, I'm the Chief Technology Officer for Central Data. I've been 30 years in distribution, 20 I've been with SX.e and Central Data. I'm our product specialist. I work with the product teams on the Infor side. I work with the product teams in the field. On the phone with me today is Kevin Frizzell. He's our senior business consultant, specifically on our Birst engineering team. He's 16 years in distribution, started with the Groupe Laurier Group, and now with Central Data, 8 to 10 years with BI, focused in Hyperion. So the thing that a lot of you people are familiar with, some of the other things like Data PA and Infor BI and Infor reporting. So I want to jump in and really talk about the implementation strategy first and foremost, because this is a place where we really want to differentiate. When we talk about Burst in a Box, why is our strategy different? So first and foremost, we want to leverage the standard content that comes from Infor for you as a cloud user or as a web UI on premise. If you buy the content, is a very important piece of the puzzle. I surveyed our team and I said, guys, what could we build that would be additional to the content? We haven't been able to find a whole lot. We're finding a pretty, a greater than 90% fit for our customers. And that's a really, really beneficial thing. So our goal is to get you up and running and getting you value as quickly as possible with the tool. We're going to utilize a value-based design. Now, what that means is really, what's the ROI? We don't want to create a bunch of reports. We want to give you a way to see the content. We want you to get the content as much as possible. And then as you have needs for your customers or for your vendors or other requirements internally, that's when we're going to look at growing and building, whether it's a dashboard or a report or a scheduled job, whatever it may be, we're going to build those along the way. So now what I'd like to do, Gloria, if you could fire up our first poll, I just want to get a sense of where people are coming from. What ERP are you using today? Is it CSD, Cloud Suite Distribution? Is it SX.e? Is it FAX? Is it A+? What are the solutions that you're using out there today as you look at and come to us today and you're talking about a solution for your organization? So go ahead and answer that poll. And as soon as I hear from Gloria that we have enough responses, we'll go ahead and reveal the content to you at this point. How we doing there, Gloria?
We are at 74%. Does anybody else want to jump in from the dark ethers here to let us know how to curtail content? We'd encourage you to do that. We're at 76% now, and 77%. We're going to say 79%. Here we go.
That's awesome. Thanks
awesome.
Everybody for responding so quickly and giving us their answers. So let's see how that poll turned out. So here we go. And so the top answer is that SX.e. 64% of our participants are using SX.e. 30% are using CSD. We also have a couple of FAX users, 3 FAX users and 1 A+ user. So that's really good. So you can look at, where you might go in the future and how Burst can really help you. So let's jump out of the poll. Thank you so much, Gloria, for that information. Let's jump out of the poll and let's talk about the solution. What's the solution? I should have said up front, and I owe that to you, and Gloria reminded me, is I'm going to need about 40 minutes of your time from where I started. So hopefully you all can strap in and hold on. We got a lot of good content we're going to share with you today. So first and foremost, Cloud Suite Distribution, we had a number of different BI solutions over time. And eventually what Infor decided to do is go out and buy what was the top tier BI solution in the market space. They compete at the high end with Birst, and Birst is really about that. But it wasn't just about buying a solution, because a BI solution, as you all know, is only as good as the content. So not only is it integrated with Cloud Suite Distribution, it's got the distribution specific content. It's got dashboards that are role-based. And we can drill down to the detail, and I'm going to show you some really cool features that are getting added in some of the latest releases. Ad hoc reporting is in here because everybody is looking for that type of thing. The mobile access, you're going to want to be able to see it on your mobile phone, and then eventually to be able to schedule it. So let's jump out of PowerPoint at this point, because we spend enough time with PowerPoint, and let's jump in and look at the software. So first and foremost, if I open up Cloud Suite Distribution and I look at my homepage, one of the things that you can do with Burst is you can park analytics right on your homepage. You know, this is a huge advantage. There's a lot of other reporting tools out there, but none of them that I've seen can park those analytics on your homepage. So we will be able to do that with Birst. Now that doesn't come with the standard content. That's something you got to add, but that's something you have the capability to add, which is a huge thing. If I look at the homepage here, one of my applications under my waffle menu, I always like to say waffle because I'm hungry, it's right at lunchtime, right? Is Cloud Suite Distribution Analytics. And this is the pre-built content. This is really what I'm going to focus on. Kevin's going to show you how to build some reports in this tool, but I'm going to focus on the pre-built content because this is what it's all about. This is where you're going to start and have the tools that you need to start your day. So built into this tool is about 150 reports, KPIs, and about 80 or so dashboards. Now that number is changing. TWL was added 2 releases ago. So if you're a TWL user, there's now content. CSFS is coming as well. So, you know, just know that the content continues to grow and grow. Once I drill into my dashboard here, I can see those overall analytics. These are the analytics that show here, but every one of these analytics is a drill down to some further detail. So, right, so you're going to drill from there into the sales analysis. Now, this is where Birst starts to get pretty powerful because you got a dashboard here and it's got a number of analytics on it. But one of the nice things about Birst is I can actually visually filter my data. I can highlight a section of the data and now it becomes filtered. Now I've chosen all of the analytics to be filtered, and just know I've got demo data in here. So, you know, the data sometimes doesn't work out, but you can filter it. But that's just one filter. I have hundreds of filters on this one dashboard: buyer, company, customer, inside sales rep, product code, sales manager, warehouse, whatever that may be. And I do see questions coming in. I will answer them as we get to a section. So don't worry about that. Now, this is just one way that you can look at it. Now, if you look at this dashboard and you said, gosh, you know, I don't like graphs, I want to see the actual data, just change it to a table. It's that simple in this tool to change into a table. We can also export the data. We can export it as PDF or Excel. So any of the data can come out and be in Excel. We can also schedule it. So now we want to deliver it. We want to deliver it to our customers. We want to deliver it to our vendors. We want to deliver it to our sales reps. And when we're delivering it to our sales reps, maybe we want to filter the content based on their security to get that content. So all of those are things that we can do within the Birst tool at any time. Now, those I'm looking at just sales right now, right? This is all self-service features, but I've got so many other ways that other pieces of data in here. So I can look at my fill rate analysis. So I've got a fill rate analysis. How am I doing with filling orders to my customers? I might look at the customer scorecard. This is really cool because if I'm a sales rep, I want to know who are my top 20 customers. Here they are out here. And then I could drill in because I'm going to go visit my friends at C&M Supply. You know, what are they doing in 2021? Because that's my filter here. What are their sales? What are their fill rate? What are they buying product wise? What's their aging information? All of that's here and available. Now, one of the things that's, I think there's a ton of powerful stuff in Birst, but one of the things they've been adding to the standard content is the drill through. We've had some BI tools and they're great tools and they show you information. And then you get to a point where you eventually have to go back to SX.e and you have to say, hey, SX.e, give me the answer. Well, now what they've done is start to build these drill throughs right within the Birst standard content. So right from here, I can click on this order while I'm in Birst. It opens up order inquiry and I've got that order that I was just looking at. So now I don't have to like go back and go, oh, did I copy and paste that order from, from Birst? No, it's right here. And all I did was drill through it. So they're building those out, and those are coming in the monthly releases. I've got purchasing analysis, so I can look at purchasing as well. I can look at, and they've got fill rate information out there, so I can see that as well. There's a question from Safan. So how familiar are you guys with pre-built content and how to extend in a safe manner? So we are extending the pre-built content all the time. We're always getting into customers and saying, oh, okay, well, this is something you want to do that's a little bit different than the way you were doing it before. So again, we'll always want to be conscious of the fact that the next upgrade is going to be, and what we try to do is pull that out and put it in a safe area. Now, Kevin, maybe you can answer that more when you get into your section, or if you have a chance right now, you want to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely done a couple of different extensions of the data, and we brought in external data, or let's say someone has a spreadsheet, brought it in as a custom space in a Birst, and then attached it to CSD data. So we have the ability to do any number of different things with external data coming in, or even extending data that's not available from CSD out of the box.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. Wayne, you asked about how easy is it to show, to get the content onto the Mingle homepage. Now, that's not something I'm going to show today, but it is something we could show you within an implementation. It's not something that was on my agenda for today, or if you want us to, we can follow up with you and kind of take you through that process. It takes a little bit of work and authentication. So let's skip down. Some of the other places we can look at here is, inventory control. So our overall inventory. But now we've talked a lot about operations, but what about financials? So we can look at accounts receivable. So we're looking at our accounts receivable. I will tell you my accounts payable data in my demo is not good, so I tend to skip by that. General ledger is a pretty big one. It's something that we've been talking a lot about. We have a number of customers who have bought F9, and now they're looking at Birst as a replacement solution. And why? Because Birst was really started as a financial reporting tool and has a lot of good detail built into it already that we were seeing in F9. So it might be a replacement. I'm not going to answer that question necessarily for you. You have to answer that for yourself in the evaluation. But I would say that there's a lot of good stuff in Birst for that F9 could do before, or financial reporting that SX really didn't have. Now, one of the things you do with the general ledger is you actually load the general ledger into the map that is Birst's general ledger analysis. So if you look at the balance sheet, you're going to say, okay, I have more than just one cash account, more than one receivables account. But this is the general ledger view that is the Birst pre-built content. So you either would have to use the map that's in there or expand the map from there. We're finding that most people can use the map that's in there. They also did add a trial balance in the last release. So again, you have that ability, and if it's linked to my demo data, again, it goes back to GLIA. For those who use the acronyms, it goes back right into Cloud Suite distribution. And as I mentioned up at the front, we have the TWL content that's pretty brand new to here. So for those who need some analysis, because there is no analysis in TWL, or there hasn't been a lot of great content, who's picking, who's receiving, what's the productivity out there, that's all in the latest and greatest TWL content. So I had an anonymous attendee that said, is this what's included with CSD? Is some of this what you have to purchase in addition to the standard CSD? 100% of what I'm showing you right now is included with CSD. You get it. Now, there is one license difference. So included with CSD is Birst Enterprise. The only thing that is an additional purchase is if you need content to come from another ERP, like your HR system or your CRM system, you would need to purchase a greater license. But the piece that comes with CSD can do everything I've shown you so far and what Kevin's going to show you subsequently. So I hope that answers that question. I have from Chris, can you build a customer specific KPI dashboard and provide them a link for them to tap into on demand to review just their dashboard and filter out all non-customer specific information? Absolutely. You know, that is the power of this, is customer self-service or IT, non-IT self-service. So, you know, that is absolutely the capability of Birst and has security to do so. Now, Chris, your next question was, that can we load in sales rep, customer, or branch budgets to measure against? And that is part of the standard content. And one of the reasons why Birst Enterprise is now included. So when we first introduced, or when Infor first introduced Birst, you couldn't load from outside data sources based on getting the old Birst licensing because of some restrictions. So that's why the product team made sure that you all get Birst Enterprise, which allows you to bring in the data. So right here, you can download the sales budget spreadsheet. You put that in the spreadsheet and you fill it in, and then you upload it in here, and then you can run comparisons of sales to budget information right on the sales analysis report. All right, and so Randy had, is there a user available scripting language for what was mentioned, loading data from another source, or for making a change to the standard SX.e data load, which might be unique to the user? A user field which needs some calculations to alter the field relative to how it's used in a mod. So absolutely, Randy, there's something called the Birst query language, and as you're building reports, that's something, again, Kevin's going to jump into next. You have the ability to create additional fields. Now, if the data is not in the data source, like you don't have it there, like it's not a standard calculation, now you might have to load it actually into the data lake, because the data source for all of the data in here is the data lake. So if it's not in here, that's something Kevin was talking about. I have to build it into that table and then ultimately get it into Birst to build it out. So Brad's question is the pre-built content only available with CSD, or can it be used with the hybrid solution and the ERP, SX, Fax, or A+ on-premise? So the content is available for Birst on-premise, for SX.e on-premise. I do not believe it's available for Fax or A+, but there is an SX.e on-premise. You can buy the content. So you don't get it, right? With CSD, you're going to get it, but if you want the actual content, you can buy it if you're an on-premise Birst user as well. And then Scott, one last question we have here. My company requires user reports to be clickable from our intranet web application. Can shortcuts to reports be done this way with Birst? Kevin, can you answer that question? I think the answer is yes, but I just want to make sure I don't.
I believe so. I mean, we need to check out the specific situation, but I know we can embed URLs into some Birst reports as we send them out. But again, it would be, we'd have to look into more detail on that.
Awesome. Okay. So I think we've covered all the questions. Thanks for all the questions. They've been fantastic. So Gloria, one last thing I wanted to cover, and I forgot to do it, which is to show you what's on my phone, because I think that's a pretty key piece to the Birst tool. If I can get my phone to mirror here. So I've got an iPhone. And this will work on Android as well, but analytics on a phone, on a tablet, you name it. So you have the ability to put that analytics on a mobile device. So when your salespeople, your executives are out in the field, they don't have to be looking at they don't have to fire up their computer to get those answers. They can get them right on their phone or their tablet. at any time, excuse me. And then we have one more question. Can you drill down into the details between each of those graphs, like in Tableau and Visible? Absolutely, as long as you build that drill in detail, right? So some of that's built into our drill in, right? So right now I can drill across because Infor has built that drill. When you build your own stuff, you're going to also build your drill capabilities. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop talking for a while. I'm going to turn it over to Kevin, and Kevin's going to take you through how you can build your own reports at this time. Oh, I'm sorry. We have our next poll that needs to go up. So can we get our next poll put up, Gloria? Thank you. So I want to ask everybody, what BI tool are you using today? Is it Hyperion? Is it MITS? Is it Focus? Is it Birst? Is it something else? What are the tools that are out there that people are still using, and how is that working for you? I'm not asking that question really in the poll here, but you know, how are you getting those results? We know that Hyperion, Oracle ultimately now owned it, and they've shut support for it. So what tools are people using today? How are you getting the results and the answers that help you run your business? So yeah, great question. Gloria says, you know, tell us how it's working for you in the chat or in your questions. All right, so you've taken down that poll and we've got some results. So what are people using today? The number one answer is other. I'm going to guess that most other is probably Excel, but you know, I don't know that for a fact. I realized that I probably should have put that one in there. I'm also seeing that there's a pretty even number here. Oh, SSRS. That's a good one too. I didn't think about that one. So we got an even divide. So Hyperion, we've got 17%, MITS 20%, Focus 19%, and then we do have an upcoming group, which is 12% of our users are using Birst, but there's still a lot of people who are using other Click. I see. That's great. Brio, people are still out there using Power BI, MicroStrategy. So those are all good tools out there. And just, you know, the key here is how can we help you get to Birst? So I'm going to turn it over now to Kevin and let him take over and kind of show us how to build our own stuff in Birst, because it's not just about the pre-built content, but you're going to want to build your own stuff too. So Kevin, can you take it away?
Great, thanks, Daryl. And thank you everyone for joining us on our webinar today. We appreciate it. As Daryl just showed you, obviously there's a lot of content out of the box with CSD. However, we realized that everybody's going to have to build their own queries, their own reports. You all have your custom stuff that you're going to want to, it's not going to be available from any BI tool for us. So what I'd like to do today is show you in Birst how we go about creating a report from scratch. I'm going to be using the standard CSD data to do it. Within Birst, there's actually two areas where we can create custom or modify existing reports. It's a visualizer and designer. Today we're going to concentrate on visualizer, and the difference being visualizer is where we can create the reports with charts, tables, so on. Designer is more for where we need what they call pixel perfect, so things that involve a little more design, like the balance sheet and this and that and so on. But for today, we're going to concentrate on visualizer. This is what visualizer looks like within Birst. I think Daryl showed you how to get there already, so I won't show you that again. Quick navigation around here. As you see, we have our subject areas on the left-hand side. So this is where all of our data from CSD, all of our fields and tables are going to reside. We have the charts, or the columns and fields that are going to be on your reports. There's nothing there right now. Your report will show up in here once we create it. And then we have some reporting options, some administrative options, and so on. So most importantly, obviously, is the CSD data comes out of the box. For those of you who are very familiar with SX.e and the acronyms and so on, in order to search for an actual field, we can actually come in here and just type in, let's say we're looking for a customer name. There's going to be a slight delay here. So if we type in ARSC, just do the underscore, I'll spell it properly. So that's how we could find our name. Instead of being a period, we had to replace, or the Infor had to replace everything with an underscore. So that's how you can search it if you're just looking for the field name with the actual acronyms. Or what they've done is they created these custom subject areas for each area within CSD, which basically gives the field names more plain English. Instead of having to look for the acronym and knowing what the field name is, you can come in and simply look up. And as you can see here, we drill into our sales and our attributes, meaning an attribute is something that describes data like customer, name, address, and so on. So we can come in here and we can see all plain English names for all the fields that are available to us in the sales order table. All right, and then if we go into the measures, which obviously a measure is something that's a total, a count, a sum, anything that can be measured. They're all there available for us as well. If we're going to look in the sales order line, we can see that we have all these measures ready for us to throw in as measures on a report. Okay, so that's the subject area. So what I'll do is I'll start building a quick report. We'll just do a top 5 customers by sales. I'll create the report, we'll put a filter on it, we'll play around with the formatting, and then I'll go and put it on a dashboard and show you how that basically the entire process works all the way through. So to start off, I'm going to show you that you can choose any number of different column, bar graph, table, crosstab, and so on to display your specific report. To start, we usually like throwing in the data into a table just so we can see what it looks like, and then throw it over into whatever other kind of chart we want to display it in. So first off, we're going to look for a measure, because we want to measure, obviously, is what we're going to base this on. So I'm going to go into sales, measures, sales order line, and we're going to grab something for sales or total or amount. So line extended net amount is probably our best bet. As you can see, we have a couple different options. So you can base it on, do you want to see it by the invoice date? Obviously, if we're looking at invoiced orders, we're going to want to select that. If we are looking for orders that aren't invoiced, we're going to use the enter date, because obviously if it's not invoiced, there won't be an invoice date. And then we also have a fiscal invoice date. So if you have any kind of fiscal period offset in CSD, that's brought across as well, and you can use that in your reporting. So in this case, we're going to concentrate on invoiced orders. We're going to throw a sum in there. As you can see, it quickly grabbed this is everything I have. This is a demo environment. I have a ton of data in here, so that's why it was pretty quick. If you're doing that in a large environment, obviously that might take a little longer. So we have our sales amount, just some quick formatting things. If I don't like the name, I can change it pretty quickly. So I just want to change my title there to sales. So now we're going to want to see, obviously, if we're doing top 5 customers, we're going to want to see a customer name or customer ID. So we'll go back into the sales area. I could go into the master area and get my customer as well, but it's technically pointing all to the same customer. So they've made it available to us on the sales order header details, and the customer name. So if I just click it, it automatically throws it into my columns. And right away, I have an easy display of my customers with their sales and a summary at the bottom. I can adjust the columns, whatnot. I like that name. I'm going to leave it the way it is. So let's say we want to apply a filter. Obviously, we probably want to filter it down by a CONO or company number. So I can click and drag it into my filters. And let's say I'm only concerned with data coming over CONO 1. So as you can see, it's quite easy to apply filters. If I wanted to do by stage code, I can drag and drop filters in there. I can do some sorting, which I'm going to do next. I want to sort obviously I want to see top 5 customers by sales. So I want to sort this by sales. I'm going to take it, sales, drop it into sort. There we go. Okay, I can say whether ascending, descending. I want top to bottom, obviously. And there we go. We have everything nicely laid out. Now I said I wanted to make this report top 5. So as you can see here is a top end results. So when you're building queries, you kind of want to keep this low so that you're not dragging over a whole bunch of data until you're absolutely sure that your report is what it is. But at this point, we only actually want to show the top 5. So I'm going to limit it to 5. And there we go. I have my top 5. Okay, so pretty quickly, that's how we build that a standard report. Now I want to go have a look and throw that into a column graph, or report, sorry. So now very easily, I see my top 5 going from left to right. I have my axis with my sales and my y-axis down below here with the customer name. So let's say I want to throw some more measures on here. I want to see some more data other than just sales. Let's go back to the measures area, sales order line. And let's say I want to see profit in there as well. So we're going to hit on line profit by invoice date again, sum. I click it. It's going to look a little weird at first. Obviously, it's because it's using two different scales here. So what we have the option of doing is just saying I can merge those together. That looks nicely more formatted. I can see my sales, then my profit. And on top of that, let's say I want the product cost. Again, invoice date by sum. It's going to look a little wonky at first here, but I merge this over. Okay, slowly come by here. There we go. So now I have 3 bars showing up. And let's say if I don't particularly want 3, I want to show the product cost in a different way, I can very easily come over here, change the display. So I could put it to a bar, a line, points, bubble, whatever I need. In this point, I think a line's going to look the best. So there we go. Okay, very quickly, I have a nice, half-decent looking graph. Obviously, it's pretty simple. There's a lot of other things we can do in here, but for the sake of timing, we're just going to keep it pretty minimal at this. So now that we have this created, obviously we want to throw it onto a dashboard. First thing we got to do is save it. There's a whole catalog where we can save everything. Let's give it a quick name. Save it in there. Okay, now that we're done, we're happy with what we have, we can go over the dashboards area where Daryl just was. However, ours is going to look a little different because we're going to be doing one of our own dashboards. It's a custom dashboard that you can create very easily out of the box. I created beforehand just for the sake of time here, but you have the ability to create a collection and then a dashboard within that collection. Daryl was showing you all these, which are the Enforce CSD standard collections, and I just created my own one called sales and then put the sales dashboard in it. As you can see, you can play around with the backgrounds. You can do a bunch of different formatting on the dashboard itself. You can hide the title, you can change the font, and so on. So now that I have my dashboard here ready to go, I'm going to go ahead and add that report that I just created. As you can see, I can click here to add it, or I can also go up here and say Insert Existing Report. I can go create a new report right from my dashboard, so that'll take me back into Visualizer. And a couple other options like text area, KPI, images, buttons, embedded filters, and so on. So for now, I'm just going to add that report that we created right down here. Simply click on it, hit done. And there we go. I can move it around, put it anywhere I want, make it a little bigger. As you can see, as I highlight it, it gives me some options. I can change the title if I need to from here. Let's say I want to add by sales. Simply hit apply. When I publish, that'll show up. I can go back into Visualizer and edit this right now, so it'll jump me right back into Visualizer. I can create drill across. So from here, I can drill from this report to other reports on other dashboards, other collections, and so on. And you can actually pass parameters through. There's what different setup you need to do on the report itself, but it's pretty nice functionality that you can create drilling from one either dashboard to another or even through collections.
Awesome, Kevin. I got some questions here if I can ask you there. So Tom asks, are user fields from various tables part of the default subject areas?
They're part of the default subject areas, as well as there's one main default subject area that carries every field, and then the individual spaces that you saw, or the subject areas, sorry, do carry a majority of the user fields.
All right, and we had one question come in through chat, which was, can profit, often based on standard costs, can you show it on true average cost? So can you show it on a different cost? And maybe, it sounds like maybe the question from Paul is, do you show based on the line cost, or is there a way to show it based on other costs as well?
So you can create some part I didn't get into in Visualizers. There's called an expression field where you can leverage the BQL language, the Birst query language, to basically create any expression you want. So you can very easily call out the standard fields and create an expression for whatever calculation you want to. So if you have a different way of calculating profit or whatever, you can do that in reports, and you can actually save those expressions as global and use them throughout any number of reports in Birst.
Great. So Kevin, did you have other stuff? I have some more questions, but I'm going to shift us back just over the Q&A bubble. No,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead. Sorry, my fault.
Yeah, I just wanted to finish off quickly. I do see someone asked about the background on the dashboard. It's pretty easy. It's right here, and you click on background, and then you can get any image. You have to load the image into the catalog first, and then it'll be available here for you.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to take control back here.
Sure.
And just make sure I pick the right screen. And so we're just going to close up with some Q&A, and there's only a few things left here. So Chris, you asked, is the chart data live when you click on it and get to the live data feeding the charts? So Kevin, can you answer that?
Is the chart data live? So technically, no. Birst is not reading live data. It's getting the data from the data warehouse on a nightly basis. So in that case, all the data that's being shown in Birst is a Birst database on its own. It's technically a day old.
So how does that data get populated? Where does that data come from then?
So all the data comes from the data lake itself, and CSD is replicating to the data lake in real time. We're next to real time. So that technically the data lake is live, but Birst has a workflow that runs on a nightly basis to grab that data and populate Birst. We have seen some cases where we can run specific, like the sales only throughout the data, grab sales orders and have some sort of live or next to live data reporting. But out of the box, it's technically a daily scheduled job.
Great. And one last question Holly had out there. Is there any automation to send out reports or dashboards by email?
Absolutely. And that's something I didn't get to show you there, but very easily we can create notifications for a specific report or a dashboard, send them out by email and schedule them all in one spot called notifications. So it's very easy to do.
Yeah, we've really just scratched the surface of what Birst can do, and we're always going to do that. We want you to get return on this investment as quickly as possible. That's where I go back to that whole implementation discussion. Our goal in the implementation is how quickly can we get you live on the software so that you're getting value for that investment, and then what's the next step? What are the next things that you want to do? There's a lot of things that you can do with Birst. You can combine data from other resources. You can combine, like I said, you could bring in your HR data and you could combine it with, reports from value add or whatever. You could create exception reporting. There's a ton of stuff that Birst can do. It is a complete analytics tool, but you got to walk before you run, right? And when you go to SX.e, you have to do everything at the same time. Well, here you don't, right? You're going to take on the things that you can do and you're going to absorb them as quickly as possible. So that's what we want to do. We want to get these analytics in the hands of users so they can say, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to see so much more than I'm seeing today. So I don't see any other questions in the chat or poll. So I'm just going to follow up. I'm going to say thank you so much for attending. We really appreciate all of your time today, Kevin and I. I'm going to put in my contact information. My email address is probably the best way to get to us. And if you just come to dziegelman@centraldata.com, and I left it up there for a while because, my spelling is a little bit of alphabet soup, and sure, you can get it Ziegelman@centraldata.com. So just contact me that way if you want to get a hold of Kevin. That's, it can come through me just as well. And we appreciate so much TUG putting on these webinars. It's a great venue for everybody. The questions awesome today, and thank you for your time. I'm going to give it back to Gloria so she can wrap this thing up.
Well, it's really funny because Randy Hughes posted and he said, well, now I know what Wayne Frizzell looked like when he was a youngster. So I think that you would find that a little bit amusing, Kevin. Always great to have everyone join us. Thank you to both of you for all of the great content today. This has been one of the best webinars that we've had with regard to our digital online audience engagement. So wonderful content that you shared, and props to everyone who took time from their schedule to join us today and really get engaged as well. Also mark your calendars and watch your inbox along with the forum boards for this Friday's invitation as Action Associates shares the benefits of a CRM system for distributors. TUG members, just a quick reminder, if you still have additional questions, post them to the TUG members only forums that are exclusive to membership, and you usually get a very quick response. I know that Daryl and Kevin also monitor those as well, along with other Central Data team members, and continue the ongoing dialogue. One of the greatest benefits to membership within this organization is, I call it 24 karat gold, the peer-to-peer learning, the quick access to people that are channel partners, Infor personnel. It literally is worth the price of admission. So that leads to my final statement is, if you've not yet joined TUG, I say, why not jump on over to www.theusergroup.org and join today. And as they say, folks in Hollywood, that's a wrap. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.